There is nothing worse than untapped potentials. If you know that you're made for more, this is the place. I know that every successful person I've ever met has one thing in common. They do not let themselves fall victim to their circumstances. They figure out a way to rise above it. So join me on this journey where I help you to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business. If you're feeling stuck and you're needing some practical tools, some hope to get you to that better life, this is definitely the place for you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unstuck Podcast. I am your host, lachellewieme, and today I get a chance to really dive deep in here with the self-exploration guide, Vince Kramer. Vince, I am so glad that you're here and can share with us your journey towards where you were to where you are now and all of the tips, the tricks, and the hope that we need to get us from where we are to where we want to be. So welcome to the Unstuck Podcast, Vince.
Well, thank you so much, Lachelle. It's a wonderful time to be here right after the first of the year. Everybody's getting started, moving into the new year, I'm sure, with lots of empowerment. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share with the Unstuck Podcast guests.
Absolutely. Okay, Vince, I know that you will do a way better job explaining everything about who you are and how you help people. I know that you're a fellow John Maxwell coach, which is one of the things that we connected over since I'm one as well. And so I know that is just one tiny little drop in the bucket of who you are and how you serve people. So why don't you do your job justice, I guess, and describe to everybody what it is that you do and how you help people these days.
Well, I consider myself a personal growth transformation coach, but more on the line of being a guide. What I've learned through my experiences in life and some pretty tough wake-up calls that I've had over the years, that we need to find our own answers. There's too many people out there that want to share their way of doing this or their way of doing that. And I really believe that each and every one of us is here for a specific reason, a reason that we actually chose to be here. So my job is to, as you said, be that self-exploration guide to help people find out about who they are, what they have to offer, why they're here. And all those answers have to come from them. And they can tap into that guidance to get those answers. And that's what Mary and I, my wife and my business partner, are setting out to do in a way that's quite different than everyone else through our company, Imagine Miracles.
I love that so much. And I think it's so important because I have so many people that come to me, honestly, and they're literally, out of desperation saying, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know it's just not this, right? Or I'm feeling unsettled, or I'm feeling like there's more that I can offer the world, or there's something different in store for me, and all ages and all stages of life. But it's really more than just, oh, you should try this. You should do this. Have you thought of this, right? It's really tapping into where we are in alignment with and how we're supposed to live out our own personal purpose, which is why I just love everything that you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you so much. And it was a journey. I'll be honest with you. I would consider myself very successful in many ways. I was an airline pilot, a director level job at 100 top 100 companies in the world. I was a military pilot, a military officer, an entrepreneur in several different ways that I was successful with. And I'll be honest with you, Lachelle, there was always something missing in my life, no matter what I achieved. My grandfather is the one that really wanted me to learn how to be a man on his terms. So when those things were missing, I just started putting my time into, okay, what's the next thing I need to achieve? Mm-hmm. Who do I need to compete against? Who do I have to be better than? Yeah. And all through that process, I just had that feeling that something was missing. And I've listened to a few of your podcasts, and during those podcasts, I heard a lot about people getting these messages. The universe dropping a message in our lap, and sometimes we pay attention and sometimes we don't. At Imagine Miracles, we call those wake-up calls, And we either get conscious ones, which are that something is missing. And if we don't pay attention, what happens? They get louder and louder
Yep.
and louder until we start paying attention.
Right.
And I had three big ones. The first one was 9/11. I lost a good friend in the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. Matter of fact, I actually was the pilot of the same flight number a week earlier.
Oh my goodness.
So if it was 9/4 instead of 9/11, it might have been me in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Then, of course, I didn't pay attention. Grandpa taught me, right? I'm better than that. I got my stuff together.
Yeah.
The right
Don't
stuff.
be weak. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so I just looked at it as, if it happened to me, I do this or this or this, and just moved on from it. So the universe conspired to help me out again. And the next one was a wake-up call when United Airlines declared bankruptcy. I actually lost 60% of my pay, lost the job that I had at the time. I still stayed employed by United, but I was demoted, if you will, lost a full pension. And it was a wake-up call that lasted a very short amount of time. And wake-up calls usually do that. They last until, okay, I've got to start living life again. And we move beyond that. Well, it's time for me to do something new or do something different in a way that satisfies me and gives to the world the way I'm supposed to give to the world. So I really lost all my belief and loyalty during that. But instead of, okay, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? I just did what every man who was taught by somebody from the 40s and 30s should do. I went out, bought some pretzel stores to help me on the journey of bringing that retirement back in, because that was my job, to support my family, to make sure that I had a good retirement. And that was the most important thing. Unfortunately, Dr. Atkins came along, and pretzels and carbohydrates kind of go hand in hand. So the businesses kind of took a dive. And for about 3 years, I was working 85 to 95 hours a week at United Airlines as a trainer and as a manager, and making sure that as an owner, I did what it was needed in those pretzel stores to keep them afloat at that time because of the low carb craze. And that, once again, I didn't wake up. I just moved to what I was supposed to do.
And let me ask you this, Vince, real quick. So when you were working all those hours at the airlines and while you were running the businesses that you had and you were working all those hours, did you feel like it was where you were supposed to be, that you were in alignment, or did you feel like it was what you were supposed to do as a responsible adult male who needed to provide for his family? I'm just curious. Was there an alignment with your soul in that, or was there an alignment with just what you're supposed to do?
Well, at that point in my life, Lachelle, the answer is yes to both of those.
Okay.
I believed I was doing what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And remind me to come back to that, because I think there's something very important in understanding that we really do live our purpose in everything we do all along.
Yes.
So I really want to share that with the listeners. But in that 95-hour weeks, I created my third major wake-up call, that crisis wake-up call, and that was a divorce. When I was gone, my wife wasn't happy. She started looking elsewhere. She found someone else. And through that whole process, she decided she no longer wanted to be married. And because she wasn't happy, I agreed with her. If that's what you want, we'll get our divorce. But that was the first time that I decided I have to start looking for what's missing in my life. And thank goodness there's so many great mentors out there and people who have programs to help us through that process, just like Imagine Miracles has several programs for that. But I found Jack Canfield, and Jack Canfield helped me find what was missing, and it was me. And that's what really got me to a place that, all right, I really have to start paying attention to why I'm here. And Jack did this really great meditation where an angel comes and brings you a gift, and in that package was a golden microphone. And I knew I was supposed to get out and start sharing just how important each and every one of us are, just how special we are. The interesting thing was I kind of threw away one set of rules and picked up another set.
Okay.
So I wanted to be the next Jack Canfield. I wanted to be out there on stage and bring thousands of people in front of me to hear the message that I had to share. But that message was, let's just say, sliding down the edge of the spear. Mm-hmm. It was a really older paradigm way of looking at things. And my current wife, Mary, my new business partner, came into my life, and she started getting me to look at spirituality. I resisted about as much as I could. She would be a great guest to hear just how much resistance I brought to the world when it came to spirituality. But I was open because I wanted to find myself. Mm-hmm. So the more she talked about spirituality, the deeper I went into science, because I just knew science was going to prove her wrong. I already knew some of the things she was sharing was against the religion that I believed in and grew up in. Mm-hmm. But I didn't think that it fit into the science world. But the more she talked, the deeper I got, the more I found that the science and spirituality was coming together. And I took that old paradigm, self-help, personal growth stuff, mm-hmm. set it aside. Actually, I set it aside in the trash can. And I started discovering, learning, and doing my work to really uncover why I'm here, what I have to offer, and how to deliver it as the energetic being that I am. And it was an interesting journey. And on that journey, I wanted to make sure, because my gifts and talents all lend themselves to training and teaching and building programs. So I wanted to bring my gifts and talents to the world in a way that others could learn that journey also, but learn it their way.
Mm, that's brilliant. And I want to go back then, because you had mentioned the purpose and finding purpose in everything that we do. I don't want to forget about that. So why don't you go back and revisit?
Oh, certainly. One of the big missions, purposes, what we call it, Imagine Miracles, divine intents that I'm here for, is to help people uncover those three big questions: the who, what, and why. Mm-hmm. And what I found is that as people learn how to tap into their own answers, get their own guidance, they uncover those in order, really. So they uncover the who, they uncover the what, and then they uncover the why. And I think that's why so many of us are lost, like you shared earlier, mm-hmm. about finding purpose, because we always want to go right to the why. Mm-hmm. And there's so many interesting ways to take this part of your life and that part of your life and put it together and have a why.
Yeah.
But if you're missing the energy that you bring into the world, we call it your quintessence, that real and concentrated energy of you, mm-hmm. and you miss all the gifts and talents that you've developed along the way to live that divine intent, to live that purpose, the why doesn't make a whole lot of sense, even if you hear it. Or if you do, the first thing that your subpersonalities or your subconscious is going to say is, well, how are we going to do that? And as soon as mm-hmm. the how comes up, yeah. we kind of put ourselves on hold. We get stuck, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So as we help people uncover, well, first of all, when I uncovered mine, I was able to go back and look at every single thing that I've done in my life mm-hmm. and see how I was living that purpose.
Mm, yep.
And I think that is so important for each and every one of us to know that we have been living it all along, and we just get better at it, and it expands to helping more people or influencing the right people along the journey. So that's why I feel it's so important for people to realize that even if you didn't feel aligned, You're
Yeah.
living your purpose. So you were aligned on the journey to really make the difference.
That's really fascinating, and I'm getting an aha moment, right? So if you have somebody, let's just say, has been in a couple of different careers, and they're at this point where they feel like there's something missing, there's something more. What you're saying is, if you go back to every role that you've played up until this point, and there was a common theme in all of those of when you felt alive, when you felt like you were making the biggest difference, when you felt the most joy. That consistency, that one thing that is a common thread in all of those things will be a clue as far as what you need to do going forward. Does that sound right?
Exactly. And it even goes a little bit further than that. As you uncover what you have to offer in the world, you start to uncover these gifts and talents. And these are the things that you really enjoy doing and you're really good at.
Yeah.
And what I found is that we like to leave a lot of those gifts in the past.
Right.
And the most important thing for, especially for entrepreneurs who leave the corporate world, or they're stepping into business for themselves because they want to make difference in a new way, or a different way, or a bigger way. There's so many things that you were good at, so many things that you enjoy doing that need to be a part of you moving forward, because that's who you are.
Right.
And if you leave you behind, you're just, as I said earlier, choosing a new set of rules to live life.
It's really fascinating. And I think that, one of the things that I notice with people is that they want things to just show up and be like, you should do this. But again, that's what you're advising against, right? Is for us to listen to everybody else, but to listen to ourselves. And it's so interesting because my passions and where I'm at today is going to be different than it will be 10 years from now. And I'm excited to see what that looks like, right? But I would have never guessed 10 years ago that I would be sitting here, with a podcast mic talking to you. And what it's so interesting is that every little tiny piece that I've been through up until this point has led me to this exact place, whether it be the fact that I started with, my first career as a nurse and how I want to help people when they're the most vulnerable, right? Leading to my role as an anesthesia provider, again, giving people the eyes, ears, and the voice for themselves when they couldn't. And all of the upbringing that I had of struggle and scrappiness has led me to, not giving up and be committed as an entrepreneur. Myself as a professor and creating courses, knowing how to create courses, as a researcher, knowing how to do market research. Like, it's so crazy to me how all of these pieces have come together so beautifully to be where I am at this exact moment. And so when we can actually sit in awe of all of the things that have come together for this exact moment, it's really quite breathtaking, actually.
And one of the things that you shared through that, and it's because of so many people that I worked with, all along the way, you've been helping people heal.
Yes.
So, a heal is part of your divine intent, and everything went into that along the way. And everybody's got so much to offer, and everybody is so different and so special and so unique. And it's in finding that uniqueness where you're really helping others step into living their purpose. I like to look at it as a puzzle.
Yeah.
Once the puzzle piece of Lachelle fits in the puzzle, there's 3 or 4 or 5 other pieces of the puzzle that know where they fit now.
Yeah.
And that is so important as we move into the change of the paradigm. We're moving into this we consciousness, the us consciousness, and out of the I consciousness.
Right. I love that. There's so much that I can't wait to talk to you about. And what I want to do next is go away from, my story and your story, but really start to write the story for the people who are listening. So after just a brief moment, you guys, I'm going to tell you all about what I've been working on. I am so stinking excited to share it with you. So I'm going to tell you all about what I have going on. And then we're going to come back with Vince and we're going to talk about how you can apply all of the things that he's doing into your life. We're going to talk about you as soon as we come back. Hey, lachellewieme here, and I gotta ask you, are you feeling like you're always on your freaking phone and you're trying to run your business, your family's complaining about you always being on your phone, you feel like you're winging it constantly, and all you want to do is have a strategy that lets you be 100% authentic and you are literally attracting the right people to you? Oh my goodness, that was me too. And I had to figure out a system that would make that work. And I totally nailed it. I have a program all designed to help you do that too, including a chance to spend the entire day with me so I can help you write copy that attracts people, and you will literally be done for an entire year. If that sounds like it's something that you need, we totally need to talk. Go ahead and click this link and let's get started. Okay, let's get started, Vince. I just think this is so amazing. And I think that what's so powerful is that you've been able to take people in a journey through your own experience. We've been able to use my life as an example of how all of the things that you do can fit. But now let's go ahead and focus on the people who are listening. How can we help them go from where they are today, maybe just feeling lost, feeling like there's this desire for something better, for something new, but they don't even know where to start. So how do we help those people really start stepping into their own and getting them down that path towards where they want to go?
Well, as I was sharing earlier, the importance of self-discovery and somebody to help you walk along that journey to really uncover those things that are really important. I alluded to it a little bit earlier, but I truly believe, and this is through science and some spirituality and a lot of other things that I brought together over the years that I was doing my work. I do believe that we as an energy made a decision to come to this earth to expand, not just expand us, but to expand the one energy. If you want to call it source, you want to call it God, whatever you want to call it, we're here to help expand that energy. And to do that, we truly chose the moment we were born, where we were born, our parents. And in choosing all of that, we set ourselves up on this path. And it's so important for us to find the path. But the tendency is to look outside of us and say, well, that's the path I want to be on, or I want to be on that person's path, or this is where I can make the biggest difference. And I want to share with each and every person, like I just said just a few moments ago, we are all so unique and so special that it's truly uncovering our answers. And the three big questions that you have to answer are, who am I? What do I have to offer? And why am I here? Those are huge, because now you've just uncovered the blueprint that you brought into this world to live fully. So that's the first step. Find those answers and find someone that's going to help you find your answers your way, because they'll elude you if you don't find your way to find those answers.
So let's start with who. Who am I? What kind of tools could you give someone to start reflecting? And I want to bring something up too, because you've mentioned like find someone. This is something that's really important that I need to just take a moment and pause it, because I think that mindset specifically is something that is so important and so crucial. And we could give you all the tools all day long to do as much as you can on your own. 100%. I'm scrappy. I can read a book. I can figure it out. But there's something to be said about somebody walking alongside of you, because when we get so close, it's in our face. We can't see the forest for the trees. We can't see the bigger picture. We can't see where we might be self-sabotaging. And so when you have a partner to walk alongside of you in anything related to mindset, it allows you to see your blind spots. It allows you to see the bigger picture that you cannot see on your own. And so I wanted to thank you, Vince, for bringing that up, because I think it's important that when we go into tools and tricks, it's really the starting point for where you can start to do your reflection. You can start to do your self-awareness. But I do think it's important too to find somebody to walk alongside of you and help you see those things that you can't see on your own. So, you know, who am I? What kind of things could I think of, or what kind of exercises could I do to help me to raise my awareness with that?
Well, there's several different ways that we can look at it. First of all, I want everybody to know that we all have the capability to tap into the divine knowledge, the universal wisdom. We have that capability. We just haven't been taught it. Most people know what intuition is. Some people believe they have it or they don't have it. It's there. It's just learning how to tap into it and get your answers. Well, so first of all, that is the best way to get your answers, to tap into your knowingness, to tap into what we like to call your higher self, or the non-physical part of you that isn't in the slower vibration, if you will, of the third dimension. But as we teach, and what I've learned along the way, we have to get answers for the multidimensional parts of us. Because if we get the answers from one part, there's going to be parts that don't believe it or don't want to go along the way. You shared, I think, with Janice just recently in one of your podcasts that the subconscious is running our lives 90% of the time. Well, if those ego personalities, if the subpersonalities and the programming that we've put into our subconscious doesn't flow with the answers that we're getting, say, from our higher selves, our intuition, that we know that's right for us, there's resistance. And in that resistance, we have the tendency to be slowed down, stopped, stuck. So we have to, one, learn to work with our egos, not get rid of them. Those subpersonalities are there to protect us, like you shared just recently. And in that protection, they're really coming from the exact same place they were formed. So if you formed a subpersonality at 6 years old, it's still a 6-year-old personality. And we have to learn to deal with that personality as a 6-year-old to help support us moving forward. So what I've done is I've found a way to get the answers for three parts of you. That part of you that is universal energy, that part of you that's the part of the whole, to get your answers from that part of you that is the knowing part of you that hasn't moved into the 3D world. And then also to get your answers from what we call the small YOU, your ego personalities, understanding your belief systems around those answers, and then how to bring them all together. So one of the exercises for the ego personalities or for your belief system, we call the lighthouse. And it's looking at yourself and understanding that the light that we shine out in the world, we're not used to seeing. We see evidence of the light that we shine out in the world, but we don't see the light of us. So what's the best way to do that? Ask the people that see you. So the lighthouse exercise sends you out to 30 people that know you, some of your closest friends, some of your business associates, all different aspects of your life, to get them to share with you what it is they see in you. What's the energy that you're putting out into the world with your light?
Absolutely. And I'm guessing that you look for some themes. So when you have people from different areas of your life, your friends, your family, your coworkers, people that maybe watch you online, when you start to see some themes emerge, it starts to give you more of an idea of who that person is.
Exactly. And then when you throw in another exercise that we call mirror, mirror, and you look at the people in your life or the people that you notice that you like what they're doing, they make you feel good, they're reflecting back to you the energy that you're putting out, or you wouldn't have tracked them in. So there's another way to start seeing those wonderful things about you, the energy that you bring to the world by what you see around you.
Absolutely. That's really powerful. And when you talked about, the higher self, one of the things as a Christian, my perspective, and I know we've talked about this a little bit off stage, I learned a couple of years ago that I do a lot of thinking and I do a lot of asking for help, but I don't do a lot of listening. And I think that that's really where it's come in very important in my prayer time, to spend time in silence and listen for him to be able to give me, the Holy Spirit to give me the answer that I'm asking for. So for me, that's, source, that's, all of the things. And so it doesn't matter, you guys, where you're coming from. I think that all of us have to be able to acknowledge that there is a higher power, higher self, higher energy that is all knowing, that is guiding us, that is looking out for us, and is there to tap into if we're willing to just sit and listen, right?
Exactly. And that's the other exercises that we give everyone, opportunity for you to start listening for the answers. We've never been taught to listen.
No.
And the answers are coming. Some of us see the answers in pictures in our heads. Some of us get the answers just in a knowingness in our chest. Others can hear the words. People show up in their lives. So once you start asking the questions and start expecting the answers,
right,
now you start finding where the answers are coming from. And then, of course, the most important thing, once you get your answers, you still have to take action on them.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that I find, because I'm really tapped into my spiritual guidance in the last couple of years. And what's so interesting is that my kind of journey and my awakening towards my true purpose really started when I started my business about 5 years ago. And what was so fascinating, Vince, I don't know if I shared this with you or not, but I literally started a business that related to skincare, and I wasn't even washing my face. Like, I had zero interest in skincare. But for whatever reason, it just kept coming into my life over and over and over again. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I was like, okay, God, fine. This is what you want me to do. You're going to have to send me people I can help. And within 6 months, I was making enough money to drop my time at the hospital by a day a week. And what that one decision of taking that small, subtle voice and running with it has led me to discovering what I'm good at, what I love, what I don't love, what I want more of, what I want less of. And so it's not necessarily that that was the end all be all, but it was the first step. And I think that sometimes in my spiritual journey too, I have been led to do things that didn't turn out the way that I thought they were gonna. And it can sometimes kind of bruise our discernment and our confidence and, like, I don't know if I heard that right. But sometimes, at least for me, what I have found is that Spirit, he leads me to where I necessarily wouldn't chose myself, but he brought me to a place that was the exploration for the next step, or to show me what exactly wasn't, good for me so that I could learn to pivot or whatever. So I think sometimes too, we have to trust ourselves to just trust the fact that it doesn't always go the way it's supposed to in our minds, right?
Exactly. And as we move into the second step of the 5 steps of your unique purpose, when we're looking at what do I have to offer, one of the exercises is going back to those times in life that you thought were the negative times, where you thought you were a victim, and to find the gift.
Yes.
And there is a gift in every single thing that's happened for us. Either we had to learn how to handle it ourselves, or we learned what it was like to be in that situation. And all of those things are going to be used as we step into living our divine intent. But the interesting thing, Lachelle, when we start going back and finding the gift in the things in our past, we change the past.
Yes.
Because now we have a new perception of it. And once we change the past, our present is definitely changed, because we've based our present on a lot of our past.
Right.
But then we open the doors up to the unlimitedness and the unlimited possibilities that the universe or the matrix has to give us.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I could talk to you all day long, Vince. I think that this is so powerful, what you're doing in this world. You mentioned, are there 5 steps to the system that you guys use?
Yeah, we call it the Your Unique Purpose Blueprint.
Nice.
And it's really about finding the answers to 5 questions: the who, the what, and the why.
Yep.
But then also, now that I know my purpose, now that I've uncovered it fully and I have my blueprint, how do I live it? And then what I've found is that we have a tendency to move consciously into following our purpose But because we can't stay in the present moment all the time, we have a tendency to find those roadblocks that are sitting waiting for us as we move forward. So the where, the fifth step of the Your Unique Purpose formula, the where is to just give you the origin of your journey. So this is where you're starting right now. So what ego personalities are out there, and what do they protect me from? What's my belief system, and where did it come from? What is the thing that's holding me back most right now? And it's all inner work. It's not looking on the outside. It's all inner work. So those are the 5 steps of the first program. And then our whole philosophy is that we all have this miracle life, the life that we're meant to live.
Yep.
And we need to discover it. Then we need to know how to create it. And then we need to live it. So the next step then would be stepping into a program that we use the CREATE model. And that is learning, being conscious of all those things that are holding you back, learning how to get by them, learning how to create with energy, learning how important it is to understand that we are the creators of our reality and we create with thought and feeling. So that all moves into it. It's great if you know it, but now it's time to create that life.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. We've had just the greatest conversation. Vince, is there anything else that you haven't had a chance to share with me and your audience that we haven't had a chance to cover before we wrap this conversation up?
Well, I've got hours and hours, Lachelle, but
I know, right?
The one thing that I just want to go back and reiterate that we are unique and special, and the world needs us. There's people out there that are looking for you. And that doesn't mean you have to change jobs. That doesn't mean you have to start your own business. There's just people that need what you have to bring to the world. And you made that choice to come and share it. And that's how you're going to make a difference. So trust that you made a decision that is so big for this world moving forward that you can't afford not to take the next step to make it happen. And then when you make that next step, you'll find that there's people out there that want to help you on that journey. And they're there to walk with you, not tell you how you should live. The days of, shall we say, cultural or societal rules are going to go by the wayside, and we have to find our own.
I love that. What question, I always close with a question for you to ask our audience to ponder so that they can really get into reflection and think about something that's going to move them from where they are to where they want to be. So what would you like them to think about?
The next time that you have a question in your life of what's next, or there's got to be more, or there's something missing like I had, take the time to think about what's being shared with you, to look at that calling and understand that this is an opportunity for you to step further into the life that you're meant to live and to show up in a way that's going to bring the higher vibrations of joy and love and enlightenment to you on that path. And once you make that step, the universe will conspire to provide. God will open doors for you, and you just have to watch and take the step through that door jam.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you so much. We'll make sure that everybody can access all of the things related to you, your business, follow you on social media, all of the things inside the show notes, Vince, so that if somebody feels led to work with you and your team, that they have all the information that they need. Thank you so much for spending today with us. I know that I learned a lot, and I have no doubt that everyone else was blessed by this conversation.
Could I share one more thing, Lachelle?
Yes, please.
If everyone goes to imaginemiracles.com/ let's use Unstuck.
Okay.
The first 10 people that go to that site, that page, there's going to be a free 20-minute session with either Mary or myself to find out what the next step is towards your blueprint.
That's amazing. I can't wait. Thank you so much for blessing our audience with that amazing surprise gift. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me today. I enjoyed it so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for listening to the Unstuck Podcast. I'm so grateful to be on this journey with you. And don't forget to check out the show notes if you want to get into my private club, the Better Club, to be able to learn better ways to be better, do better, and have better. So until next time, keep showing up. Let's get unstuck together. Have a great day.